A hush falls over the desert plateau at twilight, broken only by the hum of distant wind turbines. Above, the first stars pierce the deep indigo, as if secret eyes watching. Yet, on this night in 2025, those watchers are no mere suns and planets. Reports emerge of silent craft, triangular silhouettes, and orb-like shapes gliding without sound or contrail, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. In whispered corridors of power Pentagon briefing rooms, shielded under layers of classification and urgency simmers, top intelligence officers confront each other in hushed tones. What are these objects? How deep does the secrecy run? And why does the official narrative insist they are merely unidentified? Classified memos reference anomalous propulsion, encrypted flight log erasures, and incursions over missile silos. Tonight, we peel back the carefully curated veil. We will journey through declassified leaks, eyewitness accounts from fighter pilots and ranchers alike, radar logs that refuse easy explanation, and the testimonies of whistleblowers who insist the government knows far more than it admits. We will trace the puzzle pieces that hint at a reality more unsettling than any fiction, one that challenges our understanding of physics, sovereignty, and the very nature of our world. Prepare to confront the silence that speaks, the truths that shimmer just beyond detection, and the question at the heart of every sighting: what is not being told to you and why? Long before 2025, America's skies harbored mysteries. In 1947, Roswell ignited the modern UFO mythos. Debris and rumors fueled legends of crashed saucers and recoveries of non-human bodies. The Air Force's Project Blue Book cataloged thousands of reports yet concluded 99% had mundane explanations. Decades later, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program AATIP, funded secretly by the Defense Department, quietly studied high-speed, hypersonic craft and anomalous aerial phenomena. In 2017, the New York Times exposed AATIP's existence, unveiling Navy videos of tic-tac-shaped objects demonstrating capabilities beyond current technology. Since 2021, Congress has mandated semi-annual UFO reports, yet each release carefully redacts critical data, instrument logs, infrared signatures, and pilot debriefs. The official line remains non-committal. Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, are under study, but pose no known threat. In 2025, that narrative cracks further. Fresh leaks suggest classified memos warning of incursions into restricted airspace, some proven to dodge radar, others appearing over nuclear sites. The historical pattern repeats. Sightings escalate, public attention intensifies, and the government responds with obfuscation. What changed in 2025? Why have UAP reports surged during routine training flights and annual air shows? What do the blurred outlines in infrared stills truly represent? The answer lies buried in decades of half-truths and redactions until now. Just past the stroke of midnight on January 14th, a faint glow pulsed above the granite face of Cheyenne Mountain. Security cameras blinked to life in silent testimony. A triangular craft, sleek, metallic, utterly alien, hovered without a whisper of propulsion. Moments later, two F-16s roared to intercept. Pilots would later describe the object as instantaneous burst to Mach 2, as if gravity and air resistance were nothing more than mirages. Yet when our heroes returned, their cockpit cameras had been mysteriously wiped clean, every frame erased, every record swallowed by a void that names itself unknown. By early March, the Pacific had become a stage for a grander spectacle. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, hull number sworn to secrecy, tracked multiple blips on its SPY-6 radar, gliding in perfect formation off Guam's rain-choked horizon. Surface scanners hummed with protocol as electronic warfare officers called out for transponder codes. None arrived. Infrared footage captured shapes threading through squall lines without the exhaust plumes or heat signatures we've come to expect from jet engines. One officer whispered, "They're rewriting the physics of flight," and in that hushed moment, the destroyer's entire crew felt the boundary between imagination and reality collapse. Summer solstice brought White Sands missile range into the fray. In June, Security radars screamed to life, warning of a hostile drone swarm, hundreds of spakes darting across the desert sky like startled insects. Surface-to-air batteries locked on and fired. Explosions blossomed in the air, but when the smoke cleared, the drones had vanished. Minutes later, they reappeared miles south at ground level, clustering around scrub and sand as though they had slipped through cracks in time itself. Recovery teams scoured the fallout zone, but found nothing save for an unidentifiable metallic residue smooth as obsidian, colder than winter steel, and unknown to every laboratory on Earth. By September, even the civilian world could no longer claim ignorance. American Flight 642, en route to Houston at 40,000 feet, reported a shimmering orb dancing alongside the fuselage. From within the cockpit, pilots tracked its every move, banking, climbing, diving with impossible agility, yet they heard no sonic boom, felt no turbulence. Passengers leaned forward in suspended disbelief as the orb mimicked their course corrections, a silent guardian, or perhaps a sentinel of something far greater. When the airplane finally touched down, the Federal Aviation Administration's official report blamed atmospheric anomalies. The cockpit transcript, however, vanished into a sealed dossier stamped top secret, UAP. Then came November's bombshell. An NSA analyst, conscience aflame, leaked a slide deck that shattered decades of denial. Multiple non-terrestrial origin constructs detected, it read in bold red. Footnotes spoke of reverse engineering programs and whispered of technologies that could bend space, manipulate time, even peer into hidden dimensions. The memo urged caution, avoid international panic, and hinted at controlled disclosure protocols to manage the coming flood of questions. Taken alone, each incident seemed an unconnected oddity, a glitch in our understanding of the sky. But viewed together, they form an intricate mosaic of craft and intelligence far beyond human design. January's triangle, March's phantom formations, June's ghostly swarms, September's spectral orb, and November's bleak truths, they converge on a single, disturbing conclusion. 2025 is not merely a year on the calendar, but the threshold of a revelation long withheld. As winter's first winds sweep across the plains, a hush falls over military bases and civilian airfields alike. The silence is heavier than any secret. In hushed corridors of power, conversations once forbidden now echo urgently. Are we ready for what comes next? The answer trembles in the night, just beyond our reach, carried on silent wings that slice through the darkness of our certainty and into the unknown. From the moment the first whispers of AATIP reached public ears, the official choreography began, a nod to curiosity, a dismissal of the wildest claims, and a promise that investigations continue. Yet, beneath this placid facade lies a web of programs so secretive that even their acronyms seem designed to confuse. Project Firefly stands at the epicenter. Born from a joint Air Force DARPA directive, it promised breakthroughs in propulsion, but what the engineers discovered went far beyond jet engines and fuel cells. Personnel speak in hushed tones of zero-point energy experiments that tap the quantum vacuum itself, and of recovered alloy fragments that laugh at every known test for terrestrial metallurgy. In windowless labs, scientists watch equipment warp under the energetic bleed of test objects that seem to channel physics from another realm. Meanwhile, Operation Nightshade hums quietly in the background, run by the NSA. This network monitors civilian frequency cell phones, encrypted drives, even ham radios for any unauthorized mention of UAP topics. Journalists who edged close describe sudden device blackouts, laptops rendered mute, digital recorders blinking out in mid-interview. One reporter, after filing an expose, found her archives mysteriously corrupted, every file stamped classified by unseen hand. Above them looms the Disclosure Task Force, an interagency council convened to script humanity's cautious awakening. Officially, their mandate is noble: prevent global panic as the truth emerges. But critics argue it's a velvet cage, choreographing a drip feed of revelations to protect deeper secrets. Members debate when to introduce each new wave of evidence testimony here. A declassified slide there balancing public pressure against the imperative to maintain control. For elected officials who demand full transparency, the price is swift and steep. Whispered budget cuts strip research grants overnight. Personal audits dredge through tax returns and family histories. Some report veiled threats of compromised assets should they persist. The press finds its lifeblood of insider sources evaporating as security clauses are brandished like weapons. Those who press the issue vanish from committee hearings, replaced by quieter voices echoing the standard line, "We have no evidence of extraterrestrial threats." Yet by 2025, even the most airtight walls show fissures. A new whistleblower law grants prosecutorial immunity to insiders exposing national security abuses, and suddenly former operatives step forward, their eyes glinting with urgency. Sympathetic analysts leak fragments of a DOD database, time-stamped logs of unidentifiable objects, classified at the highest levels. Frontline officers submit sworn affidavits describing craft that defy gravity, slip through radar, and vanish in trails of shimmering distortion. Across social media, civilian footage multiplies night vision clips, phone videos, dashcam captures each more compelling than the last. Eyewitnesses speak of encounters impossible to stage, glowing triangles pivoting on a dime, orbs weaving through urban canyons. Laboratories that once scoffed at the idea of alien metallurgy now test samples bearing isotopic anomalies to precise to fake. In boardrooms and briefing halls, the official denials grow ever more strained. The carefully rehearsed lines, "No credible evidence," "Still under investigation," ring hollow against the avalanche of raw, unfiltered data. The game of secrecy, redaction, and plausible deniability teeters on the brink of collapse. As the world watches, the balance shifts. The government's story, once cast in ironclad certainty, cracks under the weight of truth. And in that widening breach, a revelation awaits, one that could rewrite humanity's place in the cosmos, if only we dare to step through. From the moment the first flicker of light pierced our night skies, humanity has scrambled for explanations. In 2025, after a year of unprecedented sightings and leaks, the question is no longer whether UAPs exist, but what they truly are. Around the world, theorists gather in hushed forums, each convinced they've glimpsed a thread leading beyond the veil. Yet every hypothesis, no matter how elegant, collides with data that refuses to conform. Extraterrestrial intelcraft, the most enduring theory, holds that we're being watched by off-world explorers. Proponents point to the craft's impossible accelerations and silent propulsion as hallmarks of alien engineering. They imagine reconnaissance missions, some benign, collecting atmospheric samples, monitoring ecological shifts. Others indifferent, perhaps indifferent, cataloging us like insects under a microscope. In this vision, a cosmic arms race simmers, distant civilizations jockeying for knowledge, resources, or strategic dominance. But if these are alien envoys, why do they linger near nuclear missile silos, sites one would think off-limits? Such proximity hints at motives more complex than simple observation, secret human projects. A rival school insists these phenomena are own products of clandestine black programs operating far beyond congressional oversight. Hypersonic drones powered by novel reactors, aircraft cloaked by metamaterials, autonomous swarms directed by quantum AI. The imagination staggers, but so do the possibilities when trillions of unaccounted dollars slip through the budget. Yet even the most optimistic assessments of human tech falter at the evidence. Radar logs reveal energy efficiencies that defy our best thermodynamic models. Infrared arrays show no engine heat. If we built these machines, we have surpassed every published equation of propulsion and kept every scientist silent. Interdimensional phenomena. Perhaps the most unsettling notion is that UAPs aren't objects at all, but breaches in the fabric of reality. In fleeting instants, parallel dimensions brush against ours, spilling through in the form of shimmering triangles or orbs of plasma. Witnesses describe seeing edges blur, as if the craft is stitched from light and shadow. Under this theory, we're not alone and never were, but our neighbors exist in layers we seldom penetrate. The paradox arises in thermodynamics. How can a rift carry material form without collapsing? And why do these passages sometimes leave behind physical residue, strange alloys that refuse to be catalogued? Psychotronic manipulation. At the fringes of discourse lies the most controversial idea. UAPs are holographic projections, psychotronic illusions projected by unseen hands to distract, condition, or pacify the masses. Ancient cults, shadowy intelligence agencies, or even extraterrestrials could be broadcasting these phantoms to guide human beliefs, foster dependency, or conceal larger operations. In this view, every clip, every image is a controlled stimulus, a thread in a tapestry woven to steer global consciousness. Yet what machinery could so seamlessly blend holography with physical interactions? How can an illusion leave tangible debris, scorch marks, or disturb soil? No single theory fully encapsulates the mosaic emerging from 2025's revelations. Beneath the glittering testimonies and seismic leaks lies a puzzle that dissolves the boundaries between science and speculation. Nuclear sites, far from being shunned, become arenas of repeated overflights. High-speed maneuvers negate known propulsion. Sometimes, a metallic fragment falls to Earth, isotopes skewed beyond terrestrial norms. Other times, nothing remains but a memory seared into the minds of witnesses. The true revelation may lie not in declarations of origin, but in the questions themselves. How do we measure phenomena that rewrite our physical laws? Which ethical frameworks govern contact if it's contact at all with intelligences beyond our ken? What defenses suffice against forces that slip through radar, appear without warning, and vanish at will? As night deepens across every time zone, we stand united on a precipice. Before us stretches the uncharted and expanse where human ingenuity, cosmic ambition, and the mysteries of existence converge. Theories will evolve, alliances will form, and debates will rage. Yet one truth crystallizes above all. Whatever these phenomena are, they demand new ways of thinking. In the hush that falls before dawn, we peer into a void pregnant with possibility and realize that the horizon of disclosure extends far beyond our wildest dreams. At the edge of dawn on December 21, 2025, the world holds its breath. Behind closed doors, in silent war rooms and vaulted archives, a plan unfolds like a constellation aligning. Whispers of a coordinated global disclosure event have circulated for months now. They coalesce into undeniable momentum. First, the screens will flicker to life with declassified UAP footage, unredacted infrared clips of triangular craft slicing through night skies, radar tracks that trace impossible arcs, and multi-sensor arrays capturing objects blinking in and out of existence. Entire generations raised on CGI will stare in stunned silence. Raw data shatters the veneer of known physics. Moments later, scientific briefings convene in parallel halls from Houston to Washington, from London to Tokyo. A joint NASA-DOD panel steps before the world's press corps, lifting the veil on recovered fragments whose isotopic signatures rewrite metallurgy textbooks. Researchers outline preliminary analyses, lattice woven at the atomic scale in patterns no earthly forge could produce, traces of zero-point energy fluctuations humming within microscopic cores. Cameras pan over the gleaming shards as the panel's lead physicist murmurs, "We stand at the threshold of a new science." Then, the climax arrives. A White House statement beamed live across every network. The president's voice, solemn and measured, acknowledges phenomena beyond known technology and pledges unprecedented international cooperation. Diplomatic envoys step forward, echoing a shared commitment to transparency, to joint research, and to ensuring that this revelation binds humanity rather than divides it. Across city streets and rural towns alike, reactions ripple outward. In one living room, a child presses her forehead to the cold glass of the television, imagining distant worlds coming into focus. In another, an elderly veteran clasps his hands, recalling decades of unspoken service. On social media, hashtags ignite, hashtag we are not alone, hashtag new age science, hashtag global unity. Yet not all voices ring with awe. Skeptics warn of fractures political, social, even spiritual. Preachers decry a coming moral crisis. Analysts predict economic shocks as defense contractors pivot overnight. Hackers promise leaked dossiers that will eclipse today's deliverables. Still, the undertow of discovery is too strong to deny. In these final moments before the dawn, the world teeters on a knife's edge. Will panic ensue, or will curiosity kindle a new era of collaboration? Whistleblowers, once hunted, now stand vindicated, their voices woven into the tapestry of proof. As the president's words echo, we embark together on this journey into the unknown. A collective heartbeat quickens. History will remember this as the instant reality shifted the moment humanity looked up, saw more than stars, and realized that the greatest frontier is not out there, but within our capacity to embrace the unimaginable. 2025 looms as the year when the silent sky will speak and we must listen. Whether these shapes in the dark hail from distant worlds, hidden laboratories, or dimensions yet unnamed, their presence insists we pay heed. To whisper, "The government isn't telling you everything," is no longer idle conspiracy, it is a summons to vigilance. Lift your gaze to the heavens with clear sight and open mind. Question each narrative woven beneath a shroud of national security. Seek truths buried in raw data, in sworn testimonies, and in the hush that falls when night presses close. In this unfolding age of mystery, clarity must be our guiding star. As the last veils of secrecy slip away, let our wonder be tempered by wisdom, our alarm softened by curiosity. The sky be silent no more, but our response will echo far beyond the clouds, shaping not only what we learn, but who we become beneath its vast expanse.